Mic check two, check 1 2. Check one, test two, check one, test two. Chef Big Mike's food, literally here. He's like right there. Like if I brought him over, Mike's right here. So Mike and I are gonna go eat right after this. Yes, sir. Yeah, Mike, jump on. We'll have you jump on in a little bit. Michelle, how are you, Michelle? Michelle, I will see you in a week and 1 day. That's how close we are for the meetup. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for making the trek and paddling over here to Honolulu for our July meetup. I appreciate you. I know you're taking off work. It's taking some sacrifice for you to be here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And this will be the very first time. Michelle is my last of my 10 mods that I'm actually going to finally meet. I've met all my mods. Michelle is the very last one. Speaking of mods, Nancy Nakamura, love you chokes. Rick, what's up, Rick? Chico Chula, good to see you. Every time I see Chico Chula, I want to throw an echo because that's how we do it. Chico Chula, happy Aloha Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you. Yes, Michelle, looking forward to seeing you. And thank you, Nancy, for having Michelle be your flight buddy. Teddy Falcon, what up, Teddy? Good to see you. Happy Aloha Wisdom Wednesday. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you guys are doing well. Crazy times. Things are crazy. Hope you guys are doing good. Terms of like, so here in Hawaii, it's voting season, right? So in a couple months, we're gonna be voting for who the next governor is, who the next lieutenant governor, as well as like city council, state, our senators, right, or from the House and from the, you know, just the government overturn. And I hope that the people here in Hawaii makes conscious decisions on making the right votes, of voting the right people in. We're a democratic state, so just FYI. And I think one of the issues, I believe, as to why Hawaii is a certain way for that could have improvements is because most of the people have voted Democratic for so long. I think there's great people on both sides. The political side, hard to not talk about it, but you want to stay away from it. But then you complain about it, so you still want to be involved in a certain way. But hopefully things will change. Mashup Mike is in the house. Congratulations to Mashup Mike. He actually hit his 2K a couple days ago or last week, and so congratulations to him. Mashup Mike is one of my day oneers. Also streams as well. He's from Maui, so he's kind of like our king of the mashups. That's the kind of vibe that you'll get on his stream. So make sure you're following Chef Big Mike first, and then Mashup Mike in that order, because Chef Big Mike will feed you, and then then Mashup Mike will drop some mashups. So you want it in that order. Chica Chula, how are you? Good to see you again. Mahalo to the Power Mods. Lila's in the house, so Lila's gonna be here soon as well. I'll see you in a week and a day, Lila. So excited. I literally get to see and have all my mods be here in July. So again, there's a July meetup that's coming up. It's from July 7th, which is a Thursday, to the 11th, which is a Monday. And so every night we're actually doing a whole bunch of different things. So 7 in terms of people are coming in. We'll have a get together. It's at one of this restaurant bar Thursday night. It's called Work Play. So whoever can make that. And then Friday's the actual birthday bash. Shucks, I should have loaded it up into the StreamYard link, the flyer. But the birthday, the original meetup happened a year ago when I turned 50, and I had a bunch of my mods show up. Well, it went from my mods to a whole bunch of DJs, Twitch DJs that showed up. So people like DJ Curse and Twin Spin and Theo Tabora, Alpha Music, they showed up, a whole bunch of, as well as some local DJs. And then we decided to take it to the next level and then have a birthday bash for a bunch of birthday people that are celebrating their birthdays in July. So Princess Lehono, myself, Michael Motion, Heidi Ice, I think Gene Hove, if Gene's coming, I'm not sure. Thank you, Chica Chula. Muchas gracias. Yeah, hope you. I wish you could have been here too, Chica Chula. So that's what's going to happen. So that's Friday night over at Mai Tais, and then Saturday we're doing an island-wide foodie tour. We're going around the island. We're going to stop at different areas of the island, have some food, and kind of continue on a huge ass tour bus. It's AC. Here's the best part, and the females will appreciate this. I ordered something with. I ordered the bus with a bathroom inside. You're very welcome. Speaking of dope DJs, all the way from Indiana, my brother, DJ Michael Motion, he's coming to Hawaii. They're rating us right here. Melinda, how are you? Paramod and Boss Lady Katie Lash is in the house. Beats for Hope. Make sure you're following Beats for Hope because they've got dope ass t-shirts. You get to contribute and support something that's very worthy, a worthy cause. I actually bought a couple of their shirts, so make sure you're following Beats for Hope. Chillis78, aloha, first time here in the chat room. Welcome, welcome all of you. Shout out to my brother DJ Michael Motion, BNS 805. Good to see you. Aloha to you. Michael Motion is actually originally from LA, currently lives in Indiana. He's a sound designer for Spotify, so make sure you follow Michael Motion. Super dope DJ. Michael Motion, Boss Lady, Katie Lash, and the girls are actually coming to Hawaii. So I will see you guys next week, Thursday. So they're coming in. I'm actually going to go and pick them up, take them to their from their airport to their hotel. And so shout out to Michael Motion. Mahalo for the raid, bro. Love you, man. And thanks for the phone call today and having that conversation, man. You already know how I feel about you, brother. So thank you so much. Mahalo for the raid. Too kind. Katie Lass, looking forward to seeing you and the girls. Thank you so much. For those of you that are new to the channel, aloha to you. My name is DJ Don Famuina. Every Wednesday, I host a show called Wisdom Wednesday. And the premise behind Wisdom Wednesday is maybe perhaps the middle of the week. It's hump day. You're trying to, maybe perhaps you need that extra oomph or whatever it is for you to get over so you can make your way towards the weekend. That's what this show is about. We feature DJs, mods, as well as viewers to come on the show. We talk about resiliency. We talk about life's challenges. We talk about just getting a chance to know who our guests are. Obviously, today's guests, a legend in the DJ industry, such a great guy. And I mean, no cap about this is because one of my favorite parts about this is that he's Asian. Is his Filipino brother. Such a great guy. I've followed and I've known Neil Armstrong for many years, and I've never had the opportunity. This is why Twitch is such a great community because this is a platform that allows us to literally make these connections that maybe perhaps I'd never get this opportunity. And so I'm so happy. Feel so blessed for this opportunity to introduce and to interview New York's finest, our brother Neil Armstrong, and I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. And so to all of you, mahalo for being here. Thank you so much, my brother Michael Motion, for bringing your ohana here. By the way, your back, your yard with that lake and the lawn. Oh my gosh, man, I gotta come visit you. Man. So without further ado, my featured guest today is a native and was born and bred in New York City. Of course, DJ Neil Armstrong turned his love of music and hip hop culture into a career that has allowed him to play music for the masses literally all over the world. He is the creator of a mixtape series that he does. He is the former tour DJ for Jay-Z. That is how dope this guy is. He's also an exceptional lover of dogs and all animals. So, chat Ohana, do me a favor and help me welcome the one and only DJ Neil Armstrong.
What's going on, y'all? That was a nice
How you
little
like that
intro.
intro, man? How you
I
like
like
that?
that. That was really sweet.
What up, brother? How are you, man?
What's going on? I'm actually trying to Oh wait, there's no one here. I have to point. I have to point the phone here. I'm trying to tell people that we're doing this right now. What is
Nice,
going on, y'all?
nice.
It is good to be here. Thank you, Don, for having
Neil,
me.
Neil, are you able to see the chat? Can you see the chat that's going? It should
Yes,
be. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. I can
Okay,
see the chat.
okay. So it's customary for my guest that jumps on Wisdom Wednesday, is to I allow my guests to. I'll step back, and then this is your opportunity to shout the chat room out. So I'm gonna
All
step
right.
out just for a minute, and then I'll have you shout everybody out, and then
All right. What's going
we'll
on,
start.
y'all? Big shout out to Chef Big Mike who kind of connected all the dots, and John Mustard. Who else is up in here? Chica Chula. I like that name.
Yes,
Mashup Mike 808. I made sure to follow you just now. So on that note, everybody follow everybody up in the
yes,
chat,
sir.
please.
Yes, sir.
John
Yes,
Mustard,
sir.
I see you. Uh, uh, uh. So who else is up in here? Beast for Hope, Nancy Nakamura. Uh, is she one of the people who's going to be out here for
Yeah,
the?
she's one of my mods.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
heard that. I heard that.
Yes,
She's
sir.
the mod you haven't met yet, right?
It's Michelle, who I haven't met yet.
Oh, Michelle.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
Michelle 805. Yeah, yeah.
So that's you got a really nice little community over here. I like that. I happen to have actually met all my mods as well, which is
Nice.
pretty cool. And yeah, it's rare because my mods don't live anywhere near me, and I've been able to meet them. What's going on, Rick, Mamoto, uh, Leela,
Lila.
DC,
Lila. Yeah.
Lila.
Yep.
Who else is up in here? Yeah, aloha, everybody. And in case I just missed anyone, I am sorry. My I don't really like to talk on on what you will call it. And I'm sure if anybody's ever been in my stream, I'm sure I talk a lot more than I think I do. But I, you guys probably know this. DJing and modding and looking at the chat is like we're a bunch of freaking airline like the dudes who make sure planes don't run into each other. That's
Yes,
us.
sir.
We're
Yes,
trying to
sir.
we're looking at five different screens.
Or the air traffic controllers, man.
Yes, we're basically. I mean, right now I'm not even DJing, and I have my phone, I have the streaming computer, I have my other computer, so it's a tough. It's a little tough. And yes, mashup, Mike. I'm actually in Hawaii about half of the year, and because of COVID, I have been kind of quiet as far as doing gigs and those type of things. But yeah, I'm out here quite often actually, and that's why I'm so tan. I'm usually not this tan, but you see, I got the cocoa brown cocoa. If I turn off my light, you guys won't be able to see me. I just suck all the freaking light in because I'm so dark right now. So
That's because that's all the we call it mana, we call it power, right? That's all the mana that you absorb, man, because you
right.
dope like that.
I appreciate that. But yes, and I am Filipino American,
Yes,
born and
sir.
raised in New York. I have had the opportunity to go back home to the Philippines a couple of times. I know a lot of people who just don't get that opportunity, so I have been able to go back home. And the other half of the time, I live in Japan. So if
Dope.
you guys are ever out in Japan, come say what's up.
Dope. Yes, sir. So Neil, so for maybe like just a few of the people here that maybe don't know who you are, or maybe perhaps don't know your story, I know I did a brief intro, but if you
Right.
don't mind, kind of maybe go into maybe a little bit more details in terms of where you grew up, and then how did you this whole DJ journey started for you?
Okay. I'll try to not go off the rails and talk about other things.
Don't
I
worry,
was
man.
born and raised in New York, as I said, during the golden era of hip hop. So when I was in high school was when Scenario, Tribe Called Quest came out,
Nice,
and De La Soul's first album, and Slick Rick's first album, and Public Enemy's first album. So I was in the heart, the belly of the beast during that time period. I grew up in a very multicultural situation. So in my church, where often churches are a singular ethnic group or something along those lines. In my church, there was a Pakistani family, There was African Americans, there was white folk, there was Filipinos, there was Indian, there was an Estonian family that I remember. So I just grew up in a very eclectic upbringing. And eventually hip hop took a hold of me. Now I hope y'all agree that I don't look 50, but I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 48. My birthday just passed like last week. Let me see someone's in the chat if you think I don't look 50. I'd appreciate that. Or else
Bro.
if you guys
We
don't do that, I'm gonna go cry
we were
silently.
talking off camera. That's why we were talking off camera, because I remember you asked me like, "Hey, how old are you?" I like, "I'll be 51 in a month." You're like, "Oh, I'm just a few years younger than you." I was like, "Wait a second, because you look like you're in your 30s, dog." Like,
Word up. I
well, part of it
appreciate
is
that.
because of your genes. That's why, right? It's the
Oh,
Filipino in you,
absolutely. It's
man,
the genes and it's hip hop.
and
Like
hip
look
hop,
at
man. Yes, sir.
Grandmaster Flash. Look at Grandmaster Flash. Go
Flash
pull up a
doesn't
picture of him right now.
age, man. Flash,
He
yeah,
has to be at least 60,
yeah,
65,
yeah. At least mid
70.
60s. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. Late mid to
at
late
least.
60s. Yeah, for
And
sure.
he sure don't look like anybody I know that age. So all right, the chat is giving me some props. Thank y'all
They
for
give me
that.
some mad love, bro. Give me some mad love, bro.
So I grew up during that era, and at a certain point I didn't want to just be a fan of the
Yeah,
music. I wanted to contribute to the culture, and being where I was in New York, I was just in the proximity of, like, in Hawaii there you can't be next to Q-Tip because he's not in Hawaii, right?
yeah, yeah.
I would go to the store and Q-Tip would be at the record store.
That's
Or
dope.
uh how I ended up becoming a DJ was I used to hang out at a store called Fat Beats, and Rock Raider, all the X-Men, um,
No way, man.
Mr. Sinister, Total Eclipse, they were filming um, their first video called Exercise, which if you guys ever watch it, you can see me. This the very first time I meet Rock Raider. It's on camera. And I wasn't a DJ at the time. I was writing. I was writing for magazines or that type of thing. This is when I was in college, so that was my introduction to meeting them. And eventually, they took me under their wing. They taught me how to beat juggle. I started becoming part of the whole battle scene. Um, so your guys, old school guys would be like Nocturnal Sound and those
Yes,
guys, right?
yes, yeah, yeah,
So who are homies of mine. But
yeah.
I predate those guys by like a good 10 years or
Oh, for
so.
sure, for sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, so then I started doing that, and uh, just fast forward, I end up making a lot of mixtapes. My thing becomes making mixtapes. Oddly enough, one of the bigger mixtapes I made here in Hawaii. When I lived here back in 2005, I guess, or maybe 2004. I'm really bad with dates. Um, Information used to sell my stuff. There's a couple of places out here that used to, but Information was a big store that helped proliferate my music all over the place.
Hey Neil,
Eventually,
hey
yeah.
Neil. I don't mean to stop you, interrupt you really quick. We're getting rated, but these guys come from the food and drink side.
All
This is
right.
Round Table Gang. This is for these guys. They're all chefs, and there are a bunch of good guys that do a talk show every Wednesday called the Round Table Gang, and
Nice.
they just rated us. So I just want to acknowledge them really really quick. Aspie, uh, uh, Kivo Eats, aloha to you, Chef Steve, who's one of the Round Table Gang. Uh, uh, who's one of the crew of Round Table Gang. Zero Brew, Struggle Bus TV. How are you? Aloha, welcome, Chef Steve. Good to see you. Shato, I see you jumping in. Shato Dia Mug. Zero Brew, aloha to you. Welcome, Round Table Gang. Aloha, Lady Naginata. How are you? Good to see you. Shout out to the Round Table Gang. Aloha. So glad you guys could be here. Thank you for even considering us here in Honolulu. We appreciate you. Shout out to the Roundtable Gang, Struggle Bus TV, Darren 808. Mahalo for the resub. Happy 20 months, sir. Appreciate you, brother Darren. Again, we have world renowned DJ DJ Neil Armstrong. He's from New York. He was the tour DJ for Jay-Z. Uh, Currently resides here in Hawaii half of the time, bounces back here and then Japan. But so blessed to catch Neil while he's here in Honolulu. And so you guys are just coming in, and we're right in the interview, middle of the interview with our brother Neil. Go
Welcome,
ahead, Neil.
welcome.
Thank you, bro.
Shout out to my food peoples. I don't know, we haven't
Yes.
talked about it yet, but I'm a huge foodie. I
Yeah,
actually
man.
did a dinner series called Dinner in a Mixtape. So any of you guys, you chefs, would want to get down with that, let's definitely talk about that in the whisper. So thank you guys for rating us, and shout out to one last shout out. I know I'm not supposed to be shouting people
Yeah,
out. We're
you do.
supposed to be, but Big
No.
Rob, thank you for coming through, Big Rob. And all my DJs, all my chefs, please everybody follow everybody. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, love
All
you,
right,
man. Wait. So really quick, you brought up like that was something I always wanted to do is to collaborate with the food and drink side.
right.
So I'm not sure what your thoughts were, but I was thinking of something like, these chefs or these, these guys that stream and they cook,
Oh, I love those guys.
like they would start off their meal and maybe start off with an appetizer, and you're just dropping beats in the back, and just having that conversation with them. And
Yeah,
as they go through, they drop the main course, the main dish, then you throw something else, right? Then dessert, and then there's something else that you play. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not sure if that was the thought, kind of what you had in
Oh
terms
no,
of.
no. I mean, mine when I did it, it was pre-COVID, right? So
I see.
COVID
Got
kind of
it. Got it.
changed
Got it.
everything,
Yes.
and it basically, for the fans that know who I am, like I really love making mixtapes, and mixtapes in the
Yes.
recent years have, they just have changed.
Yeah.
People don't purchase music the same way. So I had to find a creative way to kind of uh, essentially push what I was working on. And a lot of the my fan base, they've aged out of going to clubs. You know, they're
Yeah.
not going to a club on a Thursday night when they have a kid at home and they got
Yeah.
work in the morning.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, well, why don't I do what I do, but in a dinner setting? Because people will come out to dinner on a
Mm,
Thursday night
yeah.
and they want to hear Tribe Called Quest and they want to hear Jackson 5 and they want to
Mm,
hear some new wave stuff and they want to hear this stuff, things that generally I was unable to play in the club. So that's really where the idea came from, to kind of meld the two things that I love a lot. I did one here in Hawaii at Social,
oh,
but
okay.
this again, this was pre-COVID, so it has to have been like 4 or 5 years ago already.
Yeah.
Um, I was doing them on a large scale with oh my god, which alcohol company was it? And said, what, this is what happens when you reach 50. You can't remember anything. It wasn't Hennessy. So it was, one of those bigger alcohols, and they sponsored it. It was really great. Oh, Remy Martin. So we
Oh,
did it with
nice.
Remy Martin, and it had a lot of movement. The last one we did had 200 people.
Wow. Nice.
Um, but unfortunately, COVID came along and just kind of destroyed all that. But we'll see. I would love to do it again. That will probably be one of the few ways that you'll be able to see me going forward, um, where I get to really do what I want to do. And me and Don actually spoke about that a little earlier. But
Yeah.
shout out again to the to chefs. I have always said that, um, chefs and DJs are very similar.
Yeah.
So in the case of DJs, we take music, right? So music is our ingredients, and we blend them together to create something great. And that's the same thing with chefs. Chefs take food, they take their tomatoes and they take their whatever, their flour, and they try to create something amazing that's their own. And
Well,
uh,
I've always said this, right? And I'm gonna relate this exactly like what you said in terms of with the chefs and DJs, right? So good DJs slash good chefs, right? They create music or they create food. Great DJs slash great chefs create emotions.
yeah, sure. They create art. They create an experience that you will remember. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh wait, okay.
So
So I don't remember what I was talking about
yeah,
anymore.
so
Do
so
y'all?
so so back into it, right. So you get into what you hook up with all these guys, right? And you were talking about being in in the video, and you get to see,
Right, the X
right,
Men. That's
the
right.
X-Men
Okay,
video, and you get to see all these guys and you be
right.
part
So
of them.
I ended up becoming part of the whole battle scene, and that was my existence for a while. So, your scratch DJs, all that type of stuff. I was part of that time period, and the people I had to battle were essentially the titans of what is considered turntablism. Our team had to. The first team that we had to battle was the freaking beat junkies. All right, so that's the people we fought,
Yeah,
not regular people. We had to fight freaking
yeah,
gods, and we had to battle the X Men, and we had to battle later on. Who else was the guys who would be with Craze's crew, which is
yeah.
the Allies. We had to battle
Scratch
those
Pixel,
guys.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And later on, we had to battle the the later dudes because we added another kid to the crew named I Emerge, who's actually been out here to Hawaii as well. So we had a long time doing that, but eventually I started making my mixtapes, and I think they got into the right hands um, very early on. So I was one of the earlier DJs who was treated as a brand essentially. So I did a lot of stuff with Hypebeast back in the day. That's how I ended up getting a sponsorship by Adidas. So and I say this with all humbleness, all right? So don't be going around telling, Neil's crazy. He's freaking arrogant as she, right? I'm not. I was for Adidas during that time when I was with them. I was essentially like what Kanye would end up becoming. I was on the side of their building in Portland, like I don't know, 2 3 stories high. Me, David Beckham, uh, who else was in that? Snoop Dogg. We all did an advertisement for the Star Wars sneaker that came out. So this is back in 2010. Um, Eventually, I end up on Jay Z's radar, and I ended up DJing for Jay Z for like 2 years, basically from 2008 to 2010. And um, then after that was when I actually got sponsored by Adidas fully, and then I was doing a lot of like the do over. I used to do the do over early on when it was at Crane's Tavern, and I got to do the do over with them in Os- somewhere in I think Osaka. We did Manila. We did Manila together. Um, and then of course all over the United States. And I was doing a lot of stuff for the NBA. So I used to do the rookie photo shoot every year from when Kevin Durant first came in all the way up to when Jordan Poole. Oh wait, not Jordan Poole. I forgot who was the year that RJ Barrett and Zion came in. So that was the last one I did, and then COVID happened, and then I don't know if I'll ever do it again, unfortunately. So yeah, I've gotten to do a lot of really, really cool stuff over the years, for sure. Oh, so somehow, hold on a second. I think I lost your. I can't hear you.
Yeah, it would help if I
There,
unmuted my.
there we go.
Yeah,
I hear you again.
that would make so much sense if I unmuted my mic. Wait, so Jay Z, you toured with them. Of course, you get to meet all these celebrities and stars, without divulging maybe perhaps names, through your experience that you've gone through. The coolest ones, as opposed to like, I'm gonna
You
just say
mean
it, like the assholes, like the ones that
oh
like do
night
shit,
like?
don't stink.
I mean,
Yeah.
generally most. I don't. I've never been a person to trip off celebs, and maybe that's just cause I've been lucky enough to be around them, but they're all pretty normal. Like they're regular people. I've been told Kanye is really difficult to work with. Um,
Kanye's
by
Kanye though.
sure, but I mean he's
I bet. I
extremely
bet.
difficult to work with. Um, the horror stories I've heard are you would be like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. That's Kanye.
Yeah.
um, I've had pretty good experiences with everybody else. The one dude on the DJ side that, I mean, I don't care if he hears it because he knows what he's like. Like DJ Clue is not a nice dude. Like,
Really?
he's
Really?
not a nice dude.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, a lot of people are really cool. I don't know if it's because of was because of my status or back in my battle days, like people wouldn't really want to mess with me back then because
Yeah.
they would get stomped on by
Yeah.
my crew. So
Yeah.
people might have been extra nice to me back in
Nice.
the day.
Nice.
Um, but besides on the basketball side, we almost all those guys tend to be relatively cool. Like that you
Mhm.
walk up to them, that you know you can catch anybody on a bad day, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. For sure.
For sure, and
For
you don't
sure.
know. So, but the one dude who went out of his way to kind of be a jerk was John Wall. So,
No
yeah,
way.
he was kind of a jerk. But everybody else, like, Zion was really, as cool as he could be. He's just a. You got to remember, these are kids. They're not
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
adults. Like
Yep.
even though they look like grown ass men, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
They're
still.
freaking 17
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
old. They're
Yeah.
18 years
Their
old.
their mindset
Yeah, they
wise.
don't know how to
Yeah. They're
act. Like
still.
do y'all remember when you were 18 years old? You think you acted right?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
so, the expectation for them to act like adults is, I think it's unfortunate because people think they should, but they're little kids. Um, but John Wall was kind of a jerk. But everybody else I've ever met, Kevin Durant was cool. He came over and DJ'd. Um, Pick someone. The one year I didn't get to do it though was when Steph was there,
No
which
way.
kind
No
of bums
way.
me out. So I missed
Yeah.
Steph. I missed he was on the Clippers and he was on the Nets last. Blake. I missed Blake. Yeah, I wasn't there that year, but every other year, that was when I was with Jay, so I couldn't do it. But every year besides that, everyone was cool.
Yeah.
I think in general, especially now, I think most people know like you can't act like an idiot if you want to get places.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of our jobs as DJs and anywhere in your world is your ability to network.
Yeah.
My first job I got because and this is I got my first job at McDonald's because I had a friend who worked at McDonald's.
Bro,
Right?
me too. Me
So
too.
that's
That's my very
that's
first job, bro.
yeah, that's
I worked at
networking.
McDonald's. That was my
And
very
same
first
thing
job.
with DJing. The first time I DJ was because I knew other DJs that work at this club, and because I was cool, and they gave me a chance. So, yes, people, that's one of the things. You guys try to be nice to each other. You really don't know, uh, who can help you out along your journey. So there's no need to be a jerk,
Yep. There's
please.
there's no need to, especially like if you live in Hawaii, the island is so damn small. Like
Yeah.
you be nice to everyone because you never know. I share this story very a few times here on my channel, because I work patrol and I work right in Chinatown, and I
Mm.
remember pulling over this female who was on her phone and just gave me the worst attitude, bro. Gave me the worst attitude. The funniest part is a few months later, I actually meet her at a family party. And normally I don't remember people that I pull over, but this female I remembered, right? And so I actually met her and I was like, oh, this is so and so. Like, oh, hey, local style, right? You're like, hey, auntie, how are you? So nice to meet you. And I said, I know you don't remember me, but I'm a policeman, and I actually pulled you over one night when you're in Chinatown. You should have seen her face, bro. Her
uh,
face, her look of
did she turn
embarrassment.
red? Did she
Oh,
turn
big
red?
time, bro. Big time. She's like, she's like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I said, let me ask you this. How did I treat you? She's like, you were a professional. You only treated me with kindness and aloha, and I was a bitch. I
Right.
said, you know what? You just gotta be nice to everybody. You never know.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I gave her
And
I
there
gave
you
her a
go.
hug and we were good. Like, yeah, whatever. It's like it's a couple months ago. It's done. You know.
For sure. That,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would hate for that to happen. But I think that covers the first question, right?
Yeah, no, no,
Of
yeah, no, thank you.
how I ended up here.
Yeah, yeah,
Or as a DJ. That's how my
yes,
DJ journey started,
yeah,
and I've been one of the fortunate ones to be able to kind of. I've traveled quite a bit. I've DJed with a lot of really amazing DJs. I've done some really cool parties, and I'm not. It's so weird for me to say because the the term DJ has been tied to my persona for pretty much my whole adult life now. I've been DJing for 23 years, I guess now. No, wait,
mm,
that's not right. 25. I've been DJing for 25 years now, and that's basically half my life. And if you don't count when you're 15 years old, right? Because nothing really
yes,
big happens before that. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a larger chunk. It's like 2/3 of my life,
yeah,
and it not just as a there's people who don't know my real name. They think my
yeah,
last name is Armstrong. So it's difficult for me to say like I'm at the end of my career, but I am actually at a transition point.
yeah,
Partially due to COVID, partially due to my age. I have a family now, and um, yeah, I don't. Always will love DJing. I love DJing on Twitch quite a bit. So please follow me. Come visit me
yes,
at my
of
page.
course,
But
yes,
DJing out is not as appealing to me as it once was.
yeah.
I don't
So,
know.
so I want to
What?
talk about that, but before that,
Sure.
if you could share with us, like, like your journey, like when did you jump on Twitch? How did you discover Twitch? What was that like for you?
For sure. So, like many of us during the pandemic, a lot of people initially saw live streaming via, let's say, D Nice, right? So when D Nice started doing that, the club quarantine on Instagram, and everybody and their mama was on Instagram doing that. Then Instagram shut it all down, right? They stopped.
Yep.
They would cut everyone off and blah
Hmm.
blah blah. Blah.
Yeah.
Um, I actually did not want to stream at all. I just thought I was just adding to the noise, especially when that's all I was seeing. Like everybody was trying to do it,
Yeah.
which interesting enough that just lasted like I don't know a month, and then they don't even do it at all anymore. They've left
Yeah.
the community entirely.
Yeah.
I did one stream. I hesitate to say I was forced, but Jazzy Jeff was part of this Instagram stream, so this wasn't even on Twitch, to promote the Fresh Prince clothing line.
Mm.
So I got tapped to do that. It was me. Shoot, who else was on that? I think Caper might have been on it. Obviously Jeff. I think McBoogie was doing that. I forgot. So this is sometime in May or March of 2020. Then everybody started moving to Twitch, and I did it once as someone helped me out, and then I saw what was happening on it, and I was
Yeah.
just amazed. Like the video stuff,
Yeah.
like so people could play videos and just interaction, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So then for a little while early on, I got really sucked in. I was streaming maybe a lot, four
Mm.
times a week, 3 times a week, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to move to Japan. So this would have been in September sometime of 2020, and normal life started to kind of be more
Yeah.
important. My daughter is growing up and blah blah blah. So
Yes.
then I was like, you know what? I'll just stream like once a week, and then that's all I did for quite a while. Um, I'm still streaming. I stream usually every Monday, rotating themes. If any of you guys are fans of my mixtapes, you guys know I love all different types of music. And
Yeah.
that's actually one of the things that separated me early on from everybody else. I was doing rock mixtapes that weren't mashups uh, back in, uh, 2007, 2006. I was playing R&B songs when it was really unpopular to play that stuff.
Mm.
You guys need to, if you guys were around during that time, like music was very compartmentalized. So like if you liked Wu-Tang Clan, you didn't even say you liked Mace. Like
Yeah.
That those were two different worlds. Like you couldn't like Mace and like Wu-Tang Clan. So how crazier is it is if you say like I like Das Effects and I also like the Smiths. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't do that, especially in New York. You'd get like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, this guy's a weirdo.
Yeah.
And but I did. I used to go watch. I've seen Depeche Mode in concert like 6 times because my sister, who is 4 years older than me, was a new waver. So
Nice. Nice.
I have all these old records. I had all this stuff, and I was also part of that world. And previous to me making these mixtapes, I had never heard anyone do what I was doing. I still haven't. I don't know. I'm sure there, of course, someone might have, and I just haven't heard it. But um, that was my thing for the longest time was making mixtapes and being eclectic with the music. So that's one of the beautiful things about Twitch. I do believe I have a quite a vast knowledge of music, but almost every time I go on Twitch, I hear a song I've never heard before. I haven't heard in like 20 years.
Ages. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Twitch is a beautiful place. I love being on here. Going out and doing gigs again, I don't know. I'm still kind of I hesitate to use the word scare
Yeah.
because then people take it a certain way. But I am very vigilant about treating COVID seriously still. It's not gone. Like I literally like last
Um,
week a couple of my friends got it.
yeah.
Um
I think it's gonna be one of those things where you just gotta live with it, right? Like the
right.
flu
Yeah,
and other things. Like
eventually. Yeah, eventually.
it's not gonna go away.
Yeah, I
You
forgot
just deal
the
with it.
terminology for all that. But in the meantime, my mother was around this time around, and if my mom gets it, she's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
So I have been, trying to be cognizant about those type of things, and including myself. I actually have asthma. I don't really want to get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna avoid getting it as long as possible. So still with dealing with COVID and just those type of things, being outside and not doing like Twitch stuff is hasn't been my priority. I
Hmm.
have though. I've done a couple of weddings recently. I did one in
Oh, nice.
Ohio. I did
Nice.
and I did a gig in New York. And oddly enough, the my DJs in the chat, feel free to chat about it. Um, the it's different. It's different
Yeah.
out there right now. How people, the crowd that is coming out, the how to read the crowd as a DJ is different than it was pre-COVID. I believe there's a bunch of reasons for this. One of them being that COVID knocked out like those people that were on the fence, like the people who had kids and were still kind of going out uh, just cause it was, they want to still stay young, they want to whatever. But now they were like, yeah, I don't want to go out no more. I'm not going out no more. So we lost those people who are kind of on that precipice. Um, I think how younger kids hear music is entirely different now.
Way different. Way different. Yeah.
Um, you know, this is how far gone we are from the days of the radio and cassettes and all those things. There's kids out there who do not know what a MP3 is because they only know streaming. Oh,
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
comes out of Spotify. Music
Yeah.
comes out of Apple.
Right.
What are you talking about? What's an MP3? Like
Right.
I've had this discussion with people. They don't know what an MP3 is.
Yes.
So how are they supposed to know how it was even farther back? So when we used to have to play a record, right? We can't just play a song, right? We got to move it. We got to move the thing. A cassette tape, you had to press fast forward to go to the next song. Um, Essentially, music was not at our fingertips. Like these kids today, they want to hear a song, boop, and
Yep.
they immediate gratification.
Yes.
So their attention span is different. If you listen to songs now, because of TikTok and things of that nature,
Yep.
there's I think most songs average less than 3 minutes now,
Yeah.
because that's how they consume music.
Yeah.
As opposed to us, we like transitions and we like certain things, and yeah, it's just really different now. And I witnessed it in New York. I don't know if it's the same for everybody. Um, I wasn't DJing like a college party, right? This was supposed to be a more lack of better term, sophisticated, right? I think
Yeah.
college parties are relatively easy to do. You know, they're kids.
Yeah.
They want to freaking
Yeah.
go
They just want to
crazy and get
party.
nuts. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just want to party. So just
They
play
just
the
want to
most high
party.
energy stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know what my future is. You guys have caught me at a very interesting time. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So there's a question, Miko V from San Diego. What's the story behind your name?
So a lot of DJs from my era, we didn't really choose our names. We are given our names, and uh, it was. I mean, what I wouldn't say it was like an insult, but
Yeah.
you know, it was kind of a teasing thing. Like, oh Neil Armstrong here, Neil Diamond's here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was actually Joe from Fat Beats, the owner of Fat Beats,
Oh
who
no way.
started to call me Neil Armstrong. And there was kind of a second where they were like, we don't, maybe you shouldn't call yourself that because of Stretch, right? So Stretch Armstrong is a very renowned DJ from New York. Literally the twice my size white dude, which is why his name's Stretch Armstrong. He was responsible for uh, him and Bobito had a radio show in New York for the guys who don't know, and they're responsible for name someone Nas. They broke them.
Mm,
Biggie Smalls. They broke them. Wu Tang
wow.
Clan. They broke them. Pick anyone from the golden era of hip hop and Jay Z. They used to play all their joints. Like they're the guys who are responsible for bringing their music to light. So that's
Nice.
but Joe from Fat Beast would kind of joke when I would come in and be like, "Oh, what up? No, Neil Armstrong here," and then it just kind of stuck. Um, I also didn't want people calling my house and my mother answering and asking for
Yeah.
whatever DJ Booty Eater 25. Where you at? And then my
Yeah. Yeah.
click.
Yeah.
Who is
Right.
calling?
Yeah.
Who's calling this crib right now? So Neil Armstrong made the most sense for me to do
Nice.
that. Oh,
Nice.
there was another thing in the thing. Hold on, the shirt. So the shirt is
Yeah.
actually DJ Trackstar. I believe that's his name. He is the DJ for Run the Jewels. He made these shirts. I don't know if he still sells them. And oddly enough, you know what? I'm okay with requests sometimes. I'm not a big like anti-request guy because I tend to be able to do parties where the right people are there.
Yeah.
So if they do request something, it's something that makes sense. I rarely will have some kid come up to me at the wrong time and be like, "Can you play Britney Spears?" It's really rare. So yeah, I don't mind him. I don't mind
Yeah.
the whatchamacallits. But yeah,
Like, hey, we're leaving in 5 minutes. Can you play my song before I leave? Like,
is that was somewhat? Oh yeah, I get those sometimes.
yeah.
And yeah, I do the usual thing everybody. So, let me see what I have, and then I
Yeah.
don't do
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it.
No, I'm serious. You know, one of my biggest pet peeve is, and I'm sure you've had your share of these. Like, you're in the zone, you're vibing, like you're feeling it, and then all of a sudden, I'm not sure. Maybe for you it's different because maybe perhaps you have security, but I don't. And like you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you get someone tapping your shoulder, just constantly tapping. Like, did you see I'm working? Like, what the fuck do you want? Yes. What?
Yeah,
Oh, can you play this? Or like, oh my gosh. Like, oh man. Yeah.
I mean it's unfortunate. So all you guys in Twitch, when you guys are out at the parties, please understand we're working. We're working out there, and we're trying to do something. It's not often for. I know there's DJs who do this for fun, but
Yeah.
it's a job, and you wouldn't want people bothering you at work. So try to be respectful, and the worst one I had was I was actually up in Calgary. There's something called Stampede. It's a big event up there. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but yeah, there's a lot of cowboys up in Calgary, up in Canada, and I was DJing this party, and this one dude, he really wanted to hear Disclosure, right? So it wasn't even a hardcore song, or
Right,
it
right.
wasn't a fight song or anything. He just wanted to hear Disclosure. But the night we shut everything down, it was
Mm,
over. Like the and
yeah.
I told her, I was like, we're already shut down. And he just said the wrong thing to me, and I guess that triggered me. Um, he wasn't like he was super a jerk, but he said something like, "Oh, you must be the worst DJ in the world then." And I was like, "Oh, see, you just picked the wrong day. You picked the wrong day to mess with me." And so, to be fair, I may have lightly pushed him away from me. To be fair, I can't lie, especially in front of Cobb. I gotta tell the truth, right? I might have lightly pushed him away from me, but he took a full on swing. Like I felt the
Wow.
breeze. So if he
Wow.
actually connected, I would have been laid out.
Wow.
Fortunately, the promoters, the security guard, just jumped the dude and kicked him out. But this is when I was like I had just turned 40, right, or something. I remember it was right around the time I turned 40, and I was like, that was the first time I was like, man, I'm a 40-year-old man. Like, I'm not supposed to be dealing with
Yeah.
some young kid trying to hit me. like, what the hell? Like, this does not make sense. Like, so this is how far back I've been at kind of a weird crossroads where I'm like, this isn't really. I'm starting to really not like being out here. And I've heard these type of stories. Like Louis Vega, you guys probably know him from Masters at Work. He used to do hip hop stuff. I don't know if you guys are aware of
Oh,
this.
wow.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah, so I
interesting.
guess some of you guys aren't, right? But he was huge in hip hop. He has these hip hop breaks. So did Armin van Helden. Like all of them did hip hop stuff. But
Mm,
the one time I actually got to DJ with Louis in somewhere in Africa, which I cannot remember right now. But we were in Africa, and I was talking to him about it. He was like, "Man, one time I was DJing in the Bronx, and I'm playing this hip hop stuff, and like there was a shootout like right out front, and
mm,
he's like, why am I doing this? Like,
yeah.
and so eventually he becomes the house guy that we all know.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of a similar situation with me when some dude takes a swing at me because I didn't play a Disclosure song. like,
That's
like seriously,
crazy.
you
Yeah.
gonna try to beat me up over Disclosure? Like the softest possible song possible? That's like when Will Smith freaking slapped Chris, like the softest rapper in the world just slapped him.
So,
So
so let me get your thoughts about that. And I'm sure there was a lot of discussion about that whole, right, Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle. Like some people said it was a setup. I personally don't think it was a setup at all. I knew it was real the moment he sat down and then he started swearing on national TV.
right.
What's your thoughts about that?
Oh, I mean, I don't really pay attention to all that, but I mean, I think it's clear at this point that whether or not it was a setup, it was there's repercussions for it. So
Hmm.
I mean, set up, not set up, who cares? Like Will Smith did something wrong. I think it's the consequences of what happened has been acknowledged that he's
Yeah.
done something wrong. Um, and yeah, I don't know.
Do you think it would have been different because he was nominated as right? Anything you want as for best actor
Yes.
for the film. Do you think it would have been different if it was something else, or more, or maybe perhaps? And I'm gonna throw this in because sometimes because this is one of the discussion I've actually had with some of my friends is maybe perhaps would have been different um, if Will Smith slapped somebody and that person was of a different color.
I mean, I'm sure there would have been more discussion. It would have probably added. It probably would have made things worse. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. I mean, who knows? But I think in the whole scheme of things, I think there's just a lot of stuff going on with just culture right now in America, and
yeah,
I'm happy that that didn't happen because that would have further caused some level of division. Um, and I don't. Ultimately, though, I think it's very sad that that's what was focused on for that
yeah,
particular news cycle. As you
yeah,
as you just said, you in Hawaii, you guys are about to have a primary, and
Yeah.
um, we've actually. So I'm from New York. I still have a residency there, so I vote in New York
Mm,
still because
yeah.
um, well, I couldn't really vote in Japan, so there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we've done stuff to, for example, there's something called ranked choice voting, which is just a fairer way to vote. It doesn't allow, uh, like a situation where if you don't want, like, say there's three candidates and one of them's really bad, another one is pretty popular, and the other one is the guy that you, or the guy or the woman that you really like.
Yeah.
But if you vote for the guy that you like or the woman that you really like, then you might end up splitting the vote and hiring the worst possible person, right?
Huh.
Which is usually what
Interesting.
happens.
Interesting.
Ranked choice voting takes that away. And we actually implemented that in New York. And even still, with that, only a third of the voting population bothered to show up. So this is one of our problems as a American, and I find this to be uniquely American because I've been around
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes.
Americans are extremely distracted by the dumbest things, by Kardashians, by Will Smith smacking somebody, and we do not pay attention to the things that are important.
They don't
And
pay attention to things that matter.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's problematic. And this is not a finger pointing thing. This includes me.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. Everyone's guilty of it, and it really sucks because ultimately that's why we're in the place that we are,
Yeah.
because we don't pay attention to the important things. So, guys out there, please pay attention to especially your local politics. I think that is actually the one place where our votes do actually matter. I think going up higher in the chain is there's just a lot of things at play at that point.
Yeah.
Anyone who, yeah, I mean, you work in a police station, in the police department. There's
Yeah.
politics in that. There's
Yep.
politics at your job. There's politics
Yes.
everywhere. That it's not always necessarily the best person gets the job. It's
Yep.
who you know,
It's
or
who you know.
yeah, or
Definitely.
what network you've had. So yes, please, y'all, please be vigilant about those type of things, especially you guys in Hawaii. Oh,
Yeah.
and New York, because New York. So we just had an election yesterday, and the numbers were abysmal, and it's important. And yeah, New York is supposed to be one of the more progressive places, and people didn't show up. It's very
Wow.
sad.
Wow.
So, but yes, enough of the the serious talk though. But yeah, I wish people paid attention to the more important things, and it's just difficult in this world. I think at any other time in our history, like look at how old are we now, right? 1776. At other points, so we're, let's just say we're what, 450 years old. Like
Yeah.
empires don't. This is around the time when the empires fall. Like we're a relatively new empire,
Yeah.
and they fall because there's a disproportionate amount of money going to the rich versus the poor. Uh, and back in the day, they used to bring out a guillotine, like
Yeah.
when the leaders were doing so. But now we don't bring out the guillotine. We get distracted by the Kardashians and what Kanye's doing, and
Yeah.
and yes, that's one thing I wish it wasn't the case. But yes, let's get back more into more positive things, please.
No, no, no. I no, I totally agree with you. And I think that's one of the challenges we have now for our kids. Like you look at your daughter, and like, oh man, you realize that the future for her, you know, is you're kind of at that threshold. Like, oh, where is this gonna go? Because right now it doesn't look very good. How do we make it, and how do we change it so that we can secure a better, more stable future for our kids? Right. And
Yes,
so like I have a grandson. He's less than 6 months old. Like what type of legacy do I leave to ensure that my grandson will have a prominent future for him? how is
Yeah,
society's going to be,
for
right?
sure.
Like you look at things on social media, you talk about the different social media platforms such as TikTok, and how everything is so quick, right? Like they 15 to 30 seconds. Now TikTok actually extended it to like 3 minutes, I believe,
Right, I
you
saw
know,
that.
right? Which is still short though, like, and everyone, they're constantly looking at different things. They're constantly like, okay, what's the next best thing out there? What's the next best song?
Right.
Right. And like they just take a snippet of that. Like I remember I just did a wedding and somebody asked, so there's like one of the more popular songs that I'm hearing on TikTok is the Beatnuts Siaka Boo.
Yeah.
And someone requested that at one of the weddings I just did, and they just wanted the beginning because that's all they hear,
Right.
right? But I said, nah, you're gonna listen to this whole song. Like the song's dope. Like I can just listen to the beginning. And we want me to loop it? Like, no, I'm not
That's
gonna do
funny.
that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing that fortunately I haven't quite dealt with yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, TikTok is one of the things that's influencing music. And I have
Yeah.
seen DJs, I've seen DJs talk about it. Like they have their little TikTok sets and all that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm really looking forward to working that way. So we'll see. We'll see.
So look, so with I mean, world renowned DJs, you've worked with a whole bunch of artists. You've traveled the world because of you were able to perfect and hone your craft. It's something that obviously that you're really, really good at. Um, has it always been sunshine and rainbows for you? And if not, what were some of the challenges you had to face?
I mean, so I think even for the level of DJ that I've been able to reach, it's an everyday struggle.
Yeah.
So don't believe that. So one of the more successful DJs right now, at least in the urban space, would be D Nice. He did a party at um, you know the big one was Hollywood Bowl, right? That was one of the bigger ones he's
Mm,
done. I've I remember DJing with D Nice at a lull point. He's been around forever. If you
yeah.
guys don't know his background, he was a rapper
Yep.
with a group called BDP
Hmm.
with KRS One. Like, so we're talking about
Yeah.
the '80s. He's
Shout
been
out to
around
Boogie
since the
Down
'80s.
Productions. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
'80s and '90s,
Yep.
and I DJed with him. Whew, man, what year was this? Let's say early 2000s. And at this time, I mean, we were DJing at a club where we had to actually switch out the mixer while we were DJing. So he's helping me out. He's holding this big ass mixer so we could put another mixer in with while he's holding his computer on the other hand. Like, this is a he's a extremely successful DJ.
Yeah.
But me and him are together struggle setting up. We're struggle DJing because the mixer that we're on was crap. Like, and so we had to switch it out in the middle of the set.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you need to
Yeah.
understand, like, this is everybody. Like, no one has not been through something difficult. And if you haven't been through something difficult, I mean, you're a very lucky one. I do not know anyone who hasn't had up and downs everywhere from getting payment to getting their gigs right to fighting with just over dumb stuff or
Yeah.
personal stuff, like everything. It's that's life. Life is, that's one of the Buddhist sayings, life is pain, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And it's generally true.
Yeah.
You know, so again, be kind to each other because you guys never know what you guys are going through.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Someone there was one question I saw in whatchamacallit that I someone want to ask me something. Hold on. Did you see that one, dude? Yeah.
Um,
What is your biggest lesson you learned? So maybe let
oh
me
yeah.
let me what is the biggest lesson you learned? So maybe along the line with what you just asked, like trials and trib. Oh, the best lesson I think I've ever learned is you need to be about your business. I think is the biggest thing. So there's a lot of talented DJs that I know that couldn't write an invoice. Uh, things like that.
Yeah.
They were bad at returning phone calls. They missed
Yes.
gigs.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
remember having some of my other DJ buddies saying, "Hey, do you have a contract that I could use?"
mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
dude, I mean, even to like some, I'll do that with my, because I often do wedding gigs that I are
yeah,
friends, right? Quote unquote friends, people I know.
yeah,
So often I didn't do a contract. So even myself, like I have room for improvement. But
yeah,
yes, like you should have a contract and you should have those type of things. Just as a general statement, that is something I see lacking in a lot of DJs, especially when they're younger.
yeah.
Or I don't know about nowadays. I think you guys have learned a lot of lessons, but you got to understand. Like I was in a DJ crew called the Fit Platoon, right? And it was DJ Vinrock, Roly Roll, Cotton Candy, um, a kid named Doughboy. I emerge. I'm the weakest member of the crew, like by far. I'm the least talented of that clique of DJs. I don't know if you guys were around watching these old DJ battles, but Roly Roll had to battle Babu in the
Yeah.
first like ITF, and um, Daddy Dog, who guys probably never heard of, is one of the just a very very naturally talented DJ. One of my favorites. Vinrock is he was the first ITF two-time champ, right?
Mm,
So he won the advancements back to back. He was the first one to ever do that. Um, Cotton Candy was one of the earlier battle DJ who was a female, um, and I was the weakest one of the crew, but I'm the one who had enough kind of business savvy
yeah,
and whatever you want to call it. I'm the one who worked with Jay, so
yeah.
it's not just your talent. You need a lot of things to kind of coalesce together. And one thing I think a lot of DJs lack is their business acumen.
I
In the
totally
past,
agree. I totally agree. Robert Kiyosaki said this, and we've actually heard this statement many times growing up in our lives, but he put it in more in the business sense. And then he said this, and the quote is this: "Mind your own business."
yes,
When I heard that, I was like, "Holy crap!" That totally gave me a whole different perspective in terms of like how do I run my business. You mentioned about doing events for family and friends. So for me, my DJ career, obviously for me it's been mobile all these years. I like the mobile stuff, but more specifically weddings. So pre-pandemic, I was doing between maybe 45 to 55 weddings a year, all word of mouth, bro. No
nice,
advertisement, no website. Everything was on my personal social media page, and it kept me busy. And
yes,
so, aside from the weddings, because Hawaii is a destination state, there were grad parties, baby luau's. You know about all of this, right? Hawaii is like any excuse to throw a party, they'll throw a party. And so I would only do weddings, but then I would source out the graduation parties, the baby luau's. I would send other DJs that I worked alongside with in the past, and I would send them out instead. But I remember when I would do events for free for my family and friends, I'd actually send them a contract. And here's the why. Here's why for me. Number one, where there's some way I can write it off. But number two, to actually show them the level of professionalism that I take this for my business. But more importantly, I actually put in the cost as to how much I would charge for that event. So when they took a look at it, they would actually call me. They're like, "Hey, bro, so you charge this much for an event?" I said, "Yeah, this is my business. This is what keeps me and my family, with the lights on. This is what allows me to go on my trips and stuff." But what it did for them was they now looked at me at a different light. It was like, "Wow, this guy's legit." So like when they would refer me, they would say, "Hey, look, like I'm gonna send you to my cousin or to my family member. He's good, he's expensive, but he's worth it because he's professional." And I don't know how many events that I was able to get just for the mere fact of sending a contract, even if I did it for free. And the level of gratitude that they had, like, holy, I didn't know you charge this much and you're doing this for free for me.
Right.
I think it's totally different as to, yeah, I'll just do it. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, guys, just I don't know if there's any DJs out there. Um, besides practicing all the time and getting your mixing right and all that type of stuff, the other side of it is definitely know how to write an invoice, know how to make a contract, know how to handle those type of things, which unfortunately from my era anyway, a lot of DJs just didn't know how to do or just wouldn't, you
And
know.
you know what? And it was fortunate for me because before I joined the police department, I worked at a law firm. So I had one of my attorneys draft up my contract. So I took
Nice.
one of my buddies' contract and I said, "Hey, I need something. Can you give me something as a guide?" And then he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll share my contract with you." So I took what I wanted from him and then made my own and then sent it to one of my attorney coworkers. And I was like, "Hey, can you like given I was just a messenger at this law firm and I was there for about 7 years, but I sent it to one of the partner attorneys. It was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. And then he revised it and he was like, here's your contract, use this, man. Says
Yeah,
you
it's
you'll be
great.
fine. I was like,
Yeah.
and so now like even like I again full disclosure, like other DJs that actually reached out and said, hey, do you have like a contract I can take a look at it? I said, bro, this is from one of my attorney friends. You can actually here you can have it.
Right.
Take this, change it, put your name, put everything on, and you can have that. It's pretty much attorney proof. You like, it came legit from an attorney. So like
Yeah,
I've shared my contract with so
and
many people.
I think that's the other thing too is help out other people. Try to.
Absolutely.
So
Why not though?
I've had I like I was saying I usually a lot of the weddings I do if I'm not booked from my booking agent is a friend of mine or something like that. So
Nice.
I don't
Yeah.
have a normal contract,
Yeah.
or I have the ones that I use for the club stuff.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies who does weddings a lot, that's his main business. I asked him like, "Hey, can you help me set it up?" And just like you, he was like, "Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is what I use, and so yeah, uh, use your resources. Maybe that's another thing. Like
Yeah.
if there's other resources you have, make sure to utilize them and be thankful and be grateful and don't be a jerk. And then that resource doesn't go away. You know?
Man, the world is too small, especially now with the internet and social media. The world is too small, man. I mean, one small mistake could be could make or break any business. You look at what's going out right there, right? Someone will have a bad experience at a restaurant or wherever, and then
Yeah,
they take it to social media, and especially if they're one of those social media influencers or content creators,
yeah,
like you will see that business take a dive. Right, again, be kind, be kind,
yes,
and right.
yes. I think that's a very important lesson nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right. So what else was on the menu? What else did you guys want to talk about?
Well,
I didn't realize we're already like an hour and
bro, I
50
know,
minutes in.
I know, super crazy. So you kind of touched on it for a little bit, and you quoted Buddha just a little bit. But if you could share with us, like maybe um any words of wisdom or maybe favorite quote or maybe some of the things that like lessons learned as you've gone through your DJ career.
I kept trying to think of a good quote, and
Yeah,
I had a couple, and then I should have wrote it down because my old brain doesn't remember anything. But I'll try to remember that. But just life lessons wise, now this is very DJ specific stuff.
yeah,
I think um, I have been one of the fortunate people. Like I have made the majority of my adult life, my career is DJing.
yeah,
So it hasn't been like a side thing or um I don't have another job. I don't do something else and it's kind of just a thing on the side. I've been able to have a pretty decent level of success with it. Um as I said before, make sure your business stuff is right. Uh I think ultimately So this is not a quote that I've heard, but this is often what I tell people. Like, you need to do things for the right reason.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to become a doctor, don't become a doctor because you want to be able to get a Range Rover and an Escalade. You become a doctor because you want to save people's lives, right?
Mm,
If you want to be a DJ, don't be a DJ if you just want to be famous, or if you want to be like Stevie Aoki or Paris Hilton, or you want to do that. Like, be a DJ because you love music,
yeah.
and because you love the art form or whatever. And I promise you, you will not fail. Right? You may not make a lot of money, but you will not fail. Right? So if your goal is the Range Rover, you know, there's other things you could do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things you could do to get that Range Rover.
Yeah.
Don't be a doctor just to do that. Don't do the DJ thing just because, well, XYZ is famous, so I want to do that because I
Right.
want to be famous. I
Right.
think I've actually met people like that. I asked them, like, why do you want to DJ? And they're like, because I want to be famous. And unfortunately, I think that is what a lot of kids in this world today, they see TikTok people and they're like, well, I want to be famous, or that seems to be a viable thing right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's
Yeah. I
it's a little
think.
empty. It's an empty existence.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think they want to be famous. They just don't want to put the work in. I think that's the difference.
sure, there's
Right.
an aspect of the work, but even just coming from the art side of things.
Yeah.
Remember how I said when everybody was jumping on Twitch and Instagram, like, I didn't want to add to the noise?
Yeah.
I think there's, especially with something like DJing and the music that I care about a lot, uh, you know, there is such a thing as oversaturation. There is
Hmm.
if this is not something that you actually care about,
Yeah.
there's other things you could do if those are your goals.
Yeah.
Um, I need, I would like y'all to separate the money thing from the art thing and from what's your passion. And it's
Hmm.
difficult. I say that very easily because I've been able to get that to a certain extent. I've been able to make a living by doing essentially what I really love to do. And that's not always the reality for everybody. If you need to put food on the table, you need to pay rent. Uh, that's not how it all works. But I
Yeah.
hope. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, I love what you said. My mentor taught me this. Focus on your passion and your goals, and then the money will follow in that order,
I believe.
not the other way
Yeah.
around.
Yes. Yeah. I That has been my experience. That has been my experience.
Yeah, mine too.
Um, but also, and then the another part of that is, uh, in a similar vein to what Don was saying, like, you got to do the work. So
Absolutely.
I didn't get to where I was by, I don't know if this example still applies, but when I was younger, when we were all DJing, my friends who DJed, my peers, they were fine DJing on a Friday night and getting paid in beer, because they were kids, right? What do you want to do when you're a kid? I guess you want,
Yep. Yep.
shoot, get me drinks,
Yep.
right? And they were totally fine with that. But you can't pay your mortgage with beer, and
No.
when you're after a certain point, you're not going to live in your parents' basement anymore. So
True.
you need to mind the business side. But the other thing was, you I didn't just sit around. I did a lot of work. I made my mixtapes. When I would do my mixtape stuff, I would bring my mixtape to every magazine. I would bring it to people at Vibe magazine. I would bring it to people at VH1, to MTV, like, by hand. I used to get on a freaking train and do all that. I used to send it to magazines. I used to send it wherever I had to do. Like, it doesn't seem like much, but there's people who just wouldn't do those extra steps. They just expected certain things to be a certain way. Um, you know, I would practice while everybody else was out drinking all night and getting high. I would be home literally 24/7 practicing my craft, getting ready for that moment when Jay-Z gave me a call and was like, "We need you to DJ in front of 20,000 people."
That's dope, man.
So I was prepared for that moment
Yeah,
instead of other folks who are still okay with just, you know, drinking
yeah,
all night on a Friday night.
yeah,
So that's the work ethic that goes into everything. Even these TikTok folk that you guys follow and you think their 7-second video is
yeah.
like, those are carefully curated.
Oh,
Like these guys,
absolutely, absolutely,
they work. It's not the
absolutely.
same type of work as whatever as having to dig a hole like 50 feet deep, but it is hard work for a large portion of people to create content and to do these things. um yeah, it's not like you just can't just show up and whatever. You need to be prepared for your moment, whatever it is, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a DJ, whether you're a singer. You need to prepare for the moment,
Well, I think the
and I hope
concept's
y'all
the
do it.
same, though. I think the concept's the same in terms of wanting it. Like I love what you said because at some point it's called paying your dues, right?
Sure.
Like that's what you did, right? You did stuff while everyone was out there partying. You stayed back and you honed your craft. You practice, and you're doing things that will eventually you're putting out to the universe is this is what I want to manifest for myself. I don't know where this journey is going to take me, but I know that what I do right now will ultimately affect what happens down the road, right? And
Yeah.
so as you continue to work and you grind and you practice and in doing what you need to do, you hook up with people that are mentors to you, those that you look up that have already been in the game or are working and they're in there and getting their advice. These are the different steps. And then you get the call from Jay-Z, right? All
Yeah.
of those things prior, like what you said, actually, you were working to that moment. You look at these big
Sure.
stars, right? Like you see, like a up and coming artist, he or she with a dope ass song that comes out. You cannot tell me. Don't you think that that person probably sang that song in public somewhere in a bar or at a performance probably 10,000 times before the world knew who that person was? Like Ed Sheeran, right? I'm sure he sang those songs way before his earlier ones, before he made it big, because he honed his craft. He worked on it. He worked his ass off. He sacrificed. He mind his own business. I
Yeah.
think that's the key right there.
Sure. I think that, all the chefs in here may be able to kind of relate to the situation. Big Mike is, he runs his own food truck.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure he knows people who dreamt about doing it, but didn't really do the work necessary to get to that point, you know? And yeah, that I think that's an important thing. Um I'm also, though, I'm not one of those. Not every dream is meant to be. I think you have to be realistic about certain things as well. um I would love to DJ for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
That would be so great, but I have my daughter now who I hate being a part of from.
yeah,
um the couple of times I have been apart from her, I I just didn't like it. So I
yeah,
need to kind of adjust, right? And I used to spend my time on the road all the time. I rarely DJ'd in New York. Uh, I would either DJ on the West Coast or DJ in Asia or somewhere else. When I was a J, we were literally just around the world. Um, with If this happened to me when I was with Lily,
mm,
I would have been very upset. I would
mm,
have been very torn. So now that I'm at this point in my life, I need to kind of adjust and be realistic about what I'm able to do and what I'd like to do, and try to find some sort of balance with all those type
for
of
sure,
things.
for sure.
Actually, I was on another podcast, the uh, Dad Fatherhood's pod, right? The guy, one of the guys is EFN. He's the guy who does Drink Champs. So he
Mm,
does that podcast. And they asked me a question. They're like, "All right, well, if you had your daughter back when you were starting DJing, would you have done what you did?" And like without hesitation, I was like, "No, there's absolutely no way I would have." And part of that story was I used to actually work at a investment banking firm. I have a degree in chemical engineering,
mm-hmm.
and I was able to kind of have a very normal, high paying job, especially at the time.
Yeah.
Um, but I left it. Well, I left it, got fired, like a whole bunch of stuff, right? But I could have went back. I got fired because I was part of the internet bubble time, right? So everybody lost their jobs. So I could have. I was at a crossroads. Should I go back to work and do the corporate thing, or should I become a DJ? And I didn't have a daughter at the time. I didn't. I was single at the time, so I was like, all right, let me try to do the DJ thing. And they asked the question like, well, if you had your daughter at the time, would you have not done that? And no, there's no way I would have made that risk. At the time, it was like a damn near six-figure salary, which is adjusting for inflation is a big chunk of money.
Yeah.
um, I would have been giving that up to possibly make like $100 on a Friday night. Like, no, that's just ridiculous. I just
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
wouldn't have done it. So those are the things that you know you need to balance all those things out. And just because you cannot make your passion your job, it doesn't mean you're a failure. Some of the most talented DJs I know do not do this for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're the best scratchers in the world that I know do not DJ for a living
Mm-hmm.
because it's just very difficult for them to translate that into to monetize scratching.
Right.
Not everybody could be Qbert, not everybody could be those guys.
Right.
But I promise you, you put them in a room with anybody else, they'll murk them, they'll destroy them on the
Yeah.
tables.
Yep.
And those are just some of the nuances of life that you have to figure out how to balance. Um, and I guess I don't know if there's anybody. I hope you guys all take that into consideration. You got to look at your whole life, not these little pieces. Um, to really figure out if you had a good life or not. You know. So
Yeah. And at the same time, with you have cats like Hubert that are on a certain level, like that there's side hustles that he does. Like it's not just turntablism for him, right? Aside from like the
well,
the,
I,
the
I mean,
tours and all these other things, but like they have other things that actually help generate more income, right?
oh,
The se-
well, I mean,
you
in
know,
in the case of Q, he can't sell his scratches, right? So he makes a lot
right,
of product.
correct, yep,
That's where some business acumen. It's smart. Someone like Hubert was extremely good at that early on.
yep,
He's the one who sold all the turntable TV stuff.
yep,
He did that.
yep, yep,
Um, and some may argue like that was actually some of the controversy, right, with some of him and other members of the Scratch Pickles, but he's the one who did it.
yeah,
Just like Dame Dash and Jay, like
yeah,
Jay couldn't have done all he did without Dame. But and Dame says he made, like, if Dame says he made Jay, that's incorrect as well.
yeah,
Like, you need that synergy again, and that ties back to utilizing your resources and being cool to people because you don't have no idea who's going to help you on your journey.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a good example of being smart with your business. Qbert did those videos. He sells records constantly.
yep,
That's what I was doing with Dinner and a Mixtape. I knew I wanted to play certain types of music anymore. Now I wanted to play certain types of music and I couldn't in the clubs. So instead of complaining that, oh, well, everyone sucks, all the party goers suck, they're not good listeners, the clubs suck, I was like, well, all right, let me bring this to a venue, a place where I can play what I want. And
mhm,
that's where Dinner and a Mixtape came up.
Yeah.
So that's where it helps to be kind of business minded and to figure out how to monetize. And I think chefs do the same thing. There's chefs who kind of know how to brand themselves. There's, just across the board, everything. Like, y'all know who Rich the Barber is? I don't know if you know who he is. He's a barber from New York. Now, when I was younger, my father was a barber and he used to get like, I don't know, 30 pesos like to cut hair. This dude, his friend price, I think, was like $90, like to cut a dude's hair. And like he's doing ads for American Express. Um, he he's known. He's a world renowned known barber. He owns like I think two shops in New York from cutting hair. Like that didn't happen by accident. He did
Yep.
the work to create that situation.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I hope y'all have learned something.
Absolutely. No, and we have, Chuck wrote the word focus. There's actually an acronym for the words focus, and I'm gonna put it up for you guys. It means this: to follow one course until successful. That's what focus means. Um, I'm not sure if you've ever heard that, but it's one of the acronyms that I use a lot. In my workshop. So again, you talk about side hustles. So aside from my police career, aside from me doing weddings, so I own a professional development company that does workshops for businesses, nonprofits, for the community. Anytime there's issues and concerns from like corporate businesses that have a high turnover, they'll actually call us, and then we'll come in and we'll easily identify what the issue is, and then do some workshop. Usually, and we start with management, and then with the boots on the ground, and then we actually combine them together. And we found in our experience that the issues of why people leave and they quit is not because they hate their job; they just cannot stand the person they're working under. You know, it's usually always leaving because I can't stand my boss. And so we find that we do different things, and we develop a mindset on the workforce and how to collaborate and put those things together. So yeah,
That's
um,
interesting.
yeah, right.
I haven't had a normal job in so long.
Crazy, right? Crazy, right?
But
Yeah,
yeah, that definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
right.
But I don't. Is there any last minute stuff anyone wants to ask up in here?
Yeah, if you have anything, go ahead and highlight. But I want to play this clip for you.
Oh yes, please do.
And then you tell me what your thoughts are, because you mentioned, uh you alluded to some of this, but I wanted to because it actually triggered on this one video that I thought of. So take a look at this. It's like 17 seconds, and then we'll talk about
I
it.
was trying to please everyone. And when I was trying to please everyone, I lost what made me unique. You are not made for everyone. I'm not made for everyone. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm not made for everyone. So please, if you try to please them all, you end up pleasing no one.
Yeah, that's a generally very true statement. It's that's kind of a exercise in futility, trying to make everybody happy, and you
Yeah,
usually end up kind of making no one happy.
yeah,
So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
yeah.
And
BNS
it's
is asking, when did you start? Sorry,
when did I
'cause I know you
start?
started DJing when you were 15 years old.
Oh no, I started late for most hip hop heads because
Mm,
I'm like I said I'm 48 years old now. I don't know what you guys think about hip hop now, but hip hop when it started it's a young man sport. So like Pete Rock and DJ Scratch, I think he was like 16. They were kids when they started, and they were at their height, right? So hip hop in general is just naturally a young man sport. I started when I was like 21. So I started late, and actually, I think that kind of helped me out with being a little bit more mindful about my money. So a
mm,
lot of DJs, especially in New York, and when after they get their first paycheck, they bought an Escalade. I bought a house.
yeah,
That was the difference. I I drove a CRV, like a Honda. I drove a soccer mom car because I don't care.
Yeah.
But I have two properties in New York, which is a lot now that I
Yep.
bought that
Oh
I bought
yeah.
20 years ago.
Oh yes.
So those type of things. That's you know what I got out of being a lot older. So I started DJing in professionally, let's say 96.
Nice.
Um, but I didn't really get paid until we stopped doing the turntablism stuff. So that was like in 2000. I actually used to work at Turntable Lab. I don't know if you guys have ever bought anything from Turntable Lab, but
Yeah.
I was their first uh, store manager in Manhattan back in the day. Um, but yeah, I started pretty late. Um, the first time we battled the Beat Junkies was 1997, I think. Yeah, I'm
So
pretty sure it's 97. Either 97 or 96. Wait, hold on, wait. Yeah, 96. 96 we battled. Uh-oh. Lily, are you okay? My daughter just dropped the chair on
oh
herself.
jeez.
But mom was there to help her. Let's see, anything else? Is there anything else you see over here?
No, I think I think we covered I think everything. But here's the deal, bro. I appreciate this collaboration. More importantly, I think what I appreciate about this is this relationship. And bro, anything you need, man, while you're here in Hawaii, man, just holla.
Yeah, for sure. Where
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I heard that you were gonna go eat with Mike. We're
yeah.
gonna head over to the Blaisdell. There's a like a farmers market. So if you
Oh
guys
yeah.
want to come, y'all want to come hang out, we'll be over there in a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll definitely hit you up, and if not this time, we'll definitely let's schedule something together, man. Let's go hit
For
up
sure.
breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Well,
Um,
when's the meetup?
the
I'll
meetup's July 7th to 11th, but I'll definitely shoot you a message, man. Speaking of
yeah,
the beat
yeah.
junkies, yo, Ice just popped in real
Yeah, what's
quick,
going on,
man.
Icy? Icy, I guess I'll see you in a few weeks, right? I'm
Yes.
out here. I'm out here. Remark knows. Hit me up. I will send you my numbers, and I guess these guys got my phone numbers now too. But I will see y'all in a bit. I'll be there as long as I don't got dad duty. I'll be there
Yeah. Yeah,
for
bro.
sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely hit you up and let you know, I'll send you the schedule of the activities. And then but would love for you to do some stuff. The real ones are is happening on that July 10th on Sunday. So let me know if we can put you and add you in that lineup, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
I
yeah.
July. Let me confirm. But
Yeah,
yeah,
talk to the
it's
boss.
definitely yeah.
Talk
But
to the
the boss,
boss first,
the
man.
wife, the
Yeah,
boss.
the boss wife. You know that. Talk to the boss wife first,
He
man.
knows the deal.
I know, man. Look, bro,
He's put the time in. He
22
knows the
years,
deal.
man. 22 years married. We've been dating my wife 9 years prior to that. I've known
Uh,
her since I was 13 years old. She's definitely the boss. I can tell you, I am nothing without her. And yeah, there's nothing that I do that she doesn't know. So,
I mean,
yes, sir.
that is the secret. That's the secret to happy
Yes,
marriage. You gotta
yes.
realize who the boss is.
You know what
But
they
yo,
say, bro? You know what they say? Happy wife, happy life.
happy
But
life.
my response always is, there's only one person happy.
I mean, that's not really a lie either.
It
Just
ain't a
saying,
lie either,
it's
man.
not a lie
It
either.
ain't a lie.
I mean, before if y'all want me to join in on the meetup, if they have room for me, let me see some ones in the chat. If y'all want to see me do my thing,
Bro,
I
come
would
on.
love to. Let me just confirm. But if y'all will
So
be here, if y'all coming
there
through and want to see me rock,
there's always room for you, man.
I
Look,
appreciate
we,
that.
we
All
make
right,
room. We make room, man.
all right.
We
Let's
make room.
figure it out. Let me make sure everything's okay
Most
with the
definitely.
boss, and
Most
hopefully I
definitely.
will see some of y'all in person
Absolutely.
in a couple
Neo,
of
man,
days.
I appreciate you. I want to shout out someone real quick. He just popped in. Notorious DJ Carlos up in Canada. He's from Toronto. So he actually tours with Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh,
So
word.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shaq,
So
was he at the Jersey in Jersey? Oh wait, no,
yeah,
Jersey's coming up.
no, I
The New
think they just
Jersey
had
one.
it last week or something, right? Carlos,
No,
I
no,
know.
it's for July 4th. Are you guys
Oh,
gonna be in Jersey? I'm pretty sure Shaq is gonna be there.
Yeah.
So enjoy New Jersey, Jersey City. There's a lot of Filipinos there. Just FYI. But yeah, enjoy
Nice.
Jersey City. If you need to get hooked up with anybody, uh, hit me up. There's a lot of heads
Nice.
over there.
Oh, okay. So he was in Buffalo last week. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
whole crew.
yeah.
When
Yeah, it's
so
dope.
I know you stream Mondays. Any other days you stream, Neil?
I do a couple of like raids. I'll do raids here and there.
Okay.
I did do snapback way in the beginning, right? I
Nice.
see. I'm pretty sure I did. Um, but I don't know. I mean, this is a whole longer conversation. I love Twitch. I love watching Twitch, but I never got like I just never dedicated that much time to it.
Yeah.
Just because I couldn't.
Yeah.
I would see all my DJ friends they're on there like 5 hours, 6 hours, or every day
Yeah.
at some points, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Y'all are insane. I remember watching Franzen and he'd be on for like 8 hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Franzen will go on for like
Y'all
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I can't do
crazy.
that. Who else? A Musication did like a 36-hour stream once,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, I'm good. I am good. So yeah, I just never got into it like that. Consequently though, I have a relatively small followership, so I do very curated stuff. I'll do a lot of the Prince raids. I've done Boom Bap Mondays, and I actually think July 7th I'm doing a New Jack Swing set.
Nice.
But
Nice.
besides that, it's usually every Monday. And actually, I'm taking off. I think these next 2 weeks because I have to do my taxes. See, I got real life
Yes, sir. Yes,
is
sir.
kicking my butt, and I
Yes, sir.
I
I
haven't done my
totally agree, man.
taxes yet. So I got to do my taxes while I'm here. But yeah, please join. Please follow. Please follow. Please
Yes.
you hit that notification. Again, it's usually Mondays from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry, 10 p.m. right now. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
I usually DJ for 2 hours, rotating themes. If you're into new wave, I'm your dude. And I do a segment called New Wave Snobs, which it's you guys ever seen the movie High Fidelity? The three, Jack Black, John Cusack, and I forget the other dude, and they're
Nice.
just the worst. After telling y'all to be nice to everybody,
Yeah.
they're over there just belittling all the people who know less than them. What do you mean Echo and the Bunny Man? Blah blah blah. Like that's what I do. Kind of a game where it's a game of name that tune, just so you can
Nice.
flex your new wave knowledge. But
Nice. I
yeah,
love it.
Miko VSD, please come by every last Monday of the month. Every last Monday.
Sounds
And
good.
if any of my space cadets are in here, please make sure to follow all the DJs up in here. And it looks like I might be around for this Twitch meetup. So
Yep, we'll definitely hook it up, and I'll send you all the information, Neil. I appreciate you. Much love to you and Johanna, the beautiful wife and the daughter. We'll definitely hook up though. We'll connect offline. But we're gonna rate
absolutely.
out. We're gonna rate out to DJ Hydro out in LA. I appreciate everybody. Mahalo. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Peace,
Let me,
y'all. Thank you. Thank you.
perfect. Perfect.